Hey guys, it's Paul here. Today I'm going to be talking about my first Nike shoe. I figured I'm going to do videos on all 10 of my shoes, talking about each one of them one by one, different memories, different colorways, and just talking about the shoe in general. So hopefully you enjoy. My first shoe came out in 2005. It's probably the most special shoe to me just because that's when my dream of being a pro skateboarder first started, you know, having a signature shoe with a company like Nike. That was like beyond what I thought I could do in skateboarding. So this was a surprise to me, and I'm very grateful for that surprise. And here we are 18 years later. So it all started off with this one right here. This was the original colorway that I dropped with. White leather, black swoosh. It was just really clean and simple. I designed this shoe with a guy by the name of Michael Hernandez. I designed my first couple shoes with him. He's a real creative guy, a real smart guy, and I really enjoyed working with him. So shout out to Michael Hernandez. When we were going over the design process at the beginning, he would pick my brain and just ask me what I was into. And I was 19 at the time when this was happening, so you know, I was in a different place than I am now. And I remember the first thing I told him when we were talking about the shoe design was that whatever the shoe came out to be, I wanted it to have an airbag. The reason I wanted it to have an airbag was because when I was a little kid in like second, third grade, I wanted some Jordans, but all my friends, I was a small kid in school, and all my friends were a lot bigger than me, and my couple friends who had Jordans, they had the ones with the air bubbles in them, and I just thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And when I asked my mom if I could get some, she took me to Foot Locker, and I went to go get some, and I was so sad because my foot was too small, and the size that they made the shoes in for me at that time didn't have air bubbles. They only made air bubbles in I think it was like size 4 and up. I could be wrong. So I was probably like size 3 or something like that. When I had an opportunity to design my own shoe, I really wanted that air bubble in there just to make up for that time when I was like 8 years old and couldn't have air bubbles. So that was really important to me. Another thing that I told Michael that I wanted the shoe to have was kind of like something on the bottom of the shoe that would help protect my foot against landing primo. For those of you who don't know what landing primo is, it's like when your skateboard lands on its side and you accidentally land on top of it. And if you're coming down a drop or coming off some stairs, it hurts so bad when you accidentally land on the side of your board like that. So Michael came up with the idea of like a carbon fiber plate, like a little plate that went right there in the middle of the shoe to protect you from that, and it really helped a lot. Another part of the design was just the toe box. I always really liked a round toe box. It just felt good for the way I like to flick and the way I felt how it worked with my board. And then after that, Michael kind of really took over with the aesthetic and the look of the shoe. I had never designed a shoe before, and I didn't really ever consider myself like a creative mind like that. I was too busy just like skating and wanted to learn and be better at skating, and I didn't really think about other stuff. So I had to really rely on the designer to come up with the look and feel of the shoe. At that time, and still now, I'm into like fancy, flashy stuff. And so he put this print with my logo, the P.Rod logo, which he created at that time, and sometimes we still use it today, so it really stood the test of time. But he kind of made it almost similar to like a Gucci print, just kind of a nod towards my taste of fancier things in life. So he put that in there, and I was really excited about that, and it came out looking real good. So these were the first colorway. This is where it all began. This one was a general release colorway, and you know, I grew up a Michael Jordan fan. You know, I grew up in the era when Jordan was the biggest thing in sports. I always loved the colors of the Chicago Bulls jersey, and you know, Jordan also had a lot of black and red kind of colorways that kind of like, you know, spoke to that. And I just always liked this combination. The suede, I always loved skating suede. You can never go wrong with suede, in my opinion. And yeah, this is one of my other favorite colorways. This one right here was also another general release, another one of my favorite colorways, just because it was like different. I used to really like color coordinating back then. I still do, but you know, this is kind of where it all began. I really liked the challenge of trying to find stuff that matched properly with these ones. So the shoe at the time, I even now still really like skating it, but this shoe at the time was like was really cool. I really like how it turned out, and it seems like the fans and people back then really enjoyed the shoe too, because it did pretty well. This shoe was one of the quick strike shoes. Well, these three were all quick strike shoes, which were not general release. They only made limited amounts of these ones and had worked with different artists to kind of help design this one. So this one, I believe, I could be wrong. If somebody knows the proper answer, please put it down in the comments, but I'm pretty sure this was designed by a guy by the name of Andy Jenkins. And he is a really well-known skateboard graphic design artist. And at the time when this shoe came out, I used to ride for a company called Girl Skateboards. He was one of their like head graphic designers. So we worked with him to design this shoe. This one's all made out of canvas. And to be honest, I really couldn't even tell you what the graphic is. You have to look really close and look at all the details. Little like, almost looks like a map in some areas, almost looks like blueprints in some areas, and just different little kind of like collage of things he kind of put together. This one right here was done by an artist by the name of Stash, a really well-known New York street artist. At the time, I didn't really know much about him, and I got to meet him back then, go hang out with him. I went to New York, hung out with him, went to his studio. Super cool guy, really took me in, and I was really happy that he ended up doing this shoe. Back then, it was real new to do like laser etching in the shoes, and Nike had all these cool laser machines, and it looks like he did like the New York skyline laser etched in the shoe right here. I was wearing these shoes in the video we recently did for Nike SB 20th anniversary, where I was like announcing with Costin, so I decided to take these out and wear these for that video just to pay homage to the 20 years, you know? And these ones right here are probably my most special ones that I own as far as my first shoe. Like I said, I was a huge Michael Jordan fan, and every time I would go up to the Nike campus, I would ask, if Michael Jordan wasn't there, of course, if the car that they would pick me up in, if we could park in Michael Jordan's parking spot. I would always ask if we could, if it was open, and most of the time it was. So major Michael Jordan fan, major inspiration still to this day. So obviously I wanted to use the elephant print, and I believe, I could be wrong, also if you know the answer put this in the comment, but I believe this was the first non-Jordan shoe that the Jumpman logo was used on, which was a huge honor for me that they allowed that. So I got the Jumpman logo on the tongue. They put the logo of Albertsons supermarket, and the reason they did that is because my neighborhood was right next to a shopping center where they had Albertsons. And I used to skate behind the Albertsons off the loading dock every day after school and just practice all my flip tricks. That's pretty much where I learned all my tricks that I do even now off stairs and stuff like that. That's where I first learned them, was at Albertsons. So that was like my favorite skate spot. Those were my training grounds. That was my original like training facility. So we put a little homage to Albertsons loading dock right here. On the shoes that actually came out, even though these were already limited as it was, we couldn't put the logo on there because of legal reasons. So I don't know how many were made that actually had this. I want to say maybe 3 to 5 pairs that were samples that only a few people got that actually have this logo. So these are super duper rare. Yeah, these ones right here are like the holy grail for me personally, and it still has, you know, the sample writing inside on the sole of the shoe. Got the little Albertsons logo with my little P.R. logo, so this means a lot. all those days of doing that endless hours turned into me ending up getting my own Nike shoe. So to see all that kind of come together and come full circle was, and still is, like a trip to me. I can't believe it. So there's that one. All right, guys, well, that's all I got. If you got any more questions, please leave them in the comments. I hope you liked the video. Thank you for watching, and let us know if you want to see more of these. Until then, much love.